In the remote village of Ravenswood, nestled deep within a dense forest, there was an old, decrepit mansion that no one dared to enter. The mansion, known as Blackwood Manor, had been abandoned for decades. The villagers whispered about its dark past, speaking of strange occurrences and disappearances that had plagued the house for over a century. Despite these warnings, the allure of uncovering the manor's secrets was too strong for some. One crisp autumn evening, a group of friends decided to investigate the manor. Sarah, Jack, Emily, and Tom were thrill-seekers, always looking for their next adventure. Armed with flashlights, cameras, and a Ouija board, they approached the towering, ivy-covered mansion. The iron gate creaked loudly as they pushed it open, the sound echoing through the silent night. As they stepped inside, the air grew colder, and a feeling of unease settled over them. The grand foyer, once elegant and opulent, was now filled with dust and cobwebs. The chandelier hung precariously, its crystals clinking together softly in the draft. The friends split up to explore the house, agreeing to meet back in the foyer in an hour. Sarah and Jack ventured into the library, where rows of old, leather-bound books lined the shelves. They found a dusty journal on a desk and began to read. The journal belonged to the last owner of the manor, Henry Blackwood, who wrote about strange voices he heard at night and shadows that moved on their own. As they read, they heard faint whispers around them, growing louder and more insistent. Jack tried to dismiss it as the wind, but Sarah wasn't so sure. Meanwhile, Emily and Tom explored the basement. The air was damp and musty, and the faint smell of decay lingered. They found old trunks filled with antique clothes and broken furniture. As they rummaged through the items, Emily found a small, locked box. She felt a strong urge to open it, but decided to take it back upstairs instead. Just as they turned to leave, they heard footsteps behind them. They spun around, but no one was there. The hour passed quickly, and the friends reconvened in the foyer. Sarah and Jack shared what they had read, while Emily showed them the locked box. They decided to use the Ouija board to try and communicate with the spirits of Blackwood Manor. They sat in a circle, placed their fingers on the planchette, and began to ask questions. "Is anyone here with us?" Sarah asked. The planchette moved slowly to yes. "What do you want?" Jack asked. The planchette spelled out help. "Who are you?" Emily asked. The response came quickly, Henry. The friends felt a chill run down their spines. They asked how they could help, and the board spelled out box. Emily placed the locked box on the floor in front of them. Suddenly, the temperature in the room dropped dramatically, and they heard a low growl. The planchette moved violently, spelling out danger. Panicking, Tom grabbed the box and tried to force it open. The whispers grew louder, and shadows danced on the walls. With one final effort, Tom pried the box open. Inside, they found a small, ornate key. Desperately, they searched the room, finding a hidden door behind a large tapestry. The key fit perfectly, and they unlocked the door. In the attic, they found an old trunk with the same intricate designs as the box. They unlocked it with the key, and a blinding light filled the room. The shadowy figure let out a piercing scream and dissolved into the air. The light faded, leaving the friends shaken but unharmed. They quickly left Blackwood Manor, vowing never to return. As they walked back to the village, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The whispers of Ravenswood had warned them, but curiosity had led them into the darkness. They had survived, but they knew that the shadows of Blackwood Manor would forever haunt their dreams. Deep in the heart of the jungle, hidden away from the world, stood Ravenwood Lodge, a once grand mansion, now overtaken by nature. The locals spoke of its dark past, warning anyone who dared venture near. But for a group of friends, Sarah, Mike, Emily, and Jack, the thrill of the unknown was too enticing to resist. They decided to spend their vacation exploring the abandoned lodge. The journey to Ravenwood Lodge was arduous. The jungle was thick and oppressive, and the friends had to cut through vines and branches just to reach the lodge. When they finally arrived, the mansion loomed before them, its broken windows and crumbling walls giving it a sinister appearance. Inside, the air was musty, and dust covered every surface. The friends unpacked their things and settled in, eager to explore. As night fell, the lodge seemed to come alive with creaks and groans. The old wooden floors and rattling pipes made eerie sounds, but the friends laughed it off as just the house settling. Around midnight, Emily, who had been exploring the upper floors, stumbled upon a dusty journal hidden in a drawer. The journal belonged to the original owner of the lodge, a man named Charles Ravenscroft. His entries were filled with tales of strange occurrences and a growing sense of dread. One entry caught Emily's eye. "The voices have begun again. They are calling me." Uneasy but intrigued, the friends decided to investigate further. Sarah and Mike explored the basement, where they found old photographs and personal items, while Emily and Jack delved into the attic. The attic was filled with old furniture covered in white sheets and cobwebs. Among the forgotten relics, they found an ornate mirror, its surface cracked and tarnished. As Emily examined the mirror, a chill swept through the room. The reflection in the mirror seemed to shift, showing fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures. Jack dismissed it as a trick of the light, but Emily's unease grew. The friends regrouped in the living room, where the journal was laid out on the table. As they discussed the strange findings, the lights flickered and went out, plunging them into darkness. The The only source of light was the moon shining through the broken windows. A low, mournful wail echoed through the lodge. The friends huddled together, their fear palpable. The wail grew louder, coming from the direction of the attic. Determined to uncover the source, they headed upstairs. As they climbed the stairs, they noticed a cold draft and heard faint whispers. In the attic, the mirror's reflection had changed. It now showed a scene of a man frantically writing in the journal, his face twisted in terror. Suddenly, the room was filled with a blinding light. When it faded, the friends found themselves in a different place. A dark, shadowy version of the lodge, with walls covered in creeping shadows. The air was thick with a sense of dread. In the eerie silence, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was Charles Ravenscroft, his ghostly form hovering in the air. He looked at the friends with hollow eyes and spoke in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "Help me," he pleaded. "I am trapped between worlds. You must finish what I started." Panicked, the friends raced to the journal, trying to decipher the cryptic entries. They found a final entry detailing a ritual to free Ravenscroft's spirit. Following the instructions, they performed the ritual, using the mirror as a focal point. The friends left Ravenwood Lodge with a mix of relief and awe. The experience had been terrifying but unforgettable. They shared their story with others, warning them of the lodge's haunted past and the restless spirit that had once haunted its halls. Ravenwood Lodge remained abandoned, but the legend of Charles Ravenscroft lived on, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lie hidden in the heart of the jungle. In the small, secluded town of Hollow Woods, eerie whispers filled the air. The townsfolk spoke of a haunted forest on the outskirts, where anyone who ventured in after dark was never seen again. The dense trees and thick fog made the forest an unsettling place even during the day. At night, it transformed into a realm of terror. One chilly autumn evening, a group of friends, Liam, Sarah, Jake, and Emily, decided to explore the forest. They had heard the stories, but dismissed them as mere tales to scare children. Armed with flashlights and bravado, they ventured into the woods as the sun began to set. As they walked deeper into the forest, the trees seemed to close in around them. The air grew colder, and an unnatural silence fell. The only sounds were the crunching of leaves underfoot and the occasional hoot of an owl. The friends tried to keep their spirits up with jokes and laughter, but an uneasy feeling gnawed at them. Suddenly, Sarah stopped and pointed ahead. "Did you see that?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The others strained their eyes in the dim light. Just for a moment, they saw a shadowy figure dart between the trees. Jake laughed nervously. "It's just our imagination," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. They continued walking, their pace quickening. The deeper they went, the more disoriented they became. The path seemed to twist and turn, leading them in circles. Panic set in as they realized they were lost. Emily clutched Liam's arm. "We need to go back," she urged, her voice shaking. "Something's not right." Before they could decide on a direction, a blood-curdling scream pierced the night. It was Sarah. She had lagged behind, and now she was gone. The friends called her name, but only their echoes answered back. Fear gripped them as they realized they were not alone. Liam, taking charge, urged them to stick together and keep moving. They stumbled upon an old, decrepit cabin in a small clearing. Desperate for shelter, they hurried inside. The cabin was musty and filled with cobwebs, but at least it felt safe for a moment. A cold wind howled outside, rattling the windows. The friends huddled together, trying to calm their nerves. Suddenly, the door creaked open. The shadowy figure stood in the doorway, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. Jake grabbed a rusted iron poker from the fireplace and stepped forward. "Stay back," he shouted. But the figure moved closer, its presence filling the room with dread. It whispered their names, its voice echoing through their minds. Liam tried to find another exit, but the windows wouldn't budge, and the back door was locked tight. The figure closed in on them, its eyes never leaving theirs. They felt a cold, paralyzing fear take hold, making it impossible to move or speak. In a final act of desperation, Emily screamed, breaking the spell. The friends rushed the figure, trying to push past it and escape. As they did, the figure dissipated into a cold mist, and the cabin began to collapse. They ran into the forest, not stopping until they reached the edge. Breathless and shaken, they looked back. The forest was silent, the cabin nowhere to be seen. They had survived, but the haunting presence of Hollow Woods had marked them forever. The friends vowed never to speak of that night again, but the memories lingered, a chilling reminder of the horrors that lurked just beyond the trees.